Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualised NZ. I'm going to try and make this a quick video because I have less than an hour before I have to be out of the house to a doctor's appointment. So let's get cracking right into this, and I will try and work as I talk, which, doesn't always go well for me. This is a project inspired by Roxy's weekly challenge, weeks 32 and I can't remember whether it's 30 or 31. Gee, this paper's so brittle. It's from 1934, this book, and it's labelled inside as the cheap edition, 1934. So the paper is not great quality, but it's got this beautiful patina. But it is quite on the fragile side. Right, probably won't get more than that done. And we're probably doing well if we get this much done, to be honest. So I actually kind of like that ratty edge. So while Rachel did on Roxy's weekly challenge, she did these sampler pages. They were full pages of fabric and paper samples, and kind of like a little story of this lady who's chosen out fabrics for a dress, that sort of thing. And the project itself, what she did was beautiful and really, really lovely, but it didn't immediately grab me. It was like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to do this one. And then I watched a video by Gail Agostinelli where she did the challenge and interpreted it her own way. And what she did was beautiful, again, really lovely, and her own style, taking what Rachel had done and doing it her own way, and that was lovely. But I still found myself like, I'm not sure if I want to do this particular challenge. And then I got inspired not to do the same thing. I'm going to do it my way, but kind of based on what Rachel did. So what I've done is I've taken these book pages and I've just cut them down to this size, whatever size you want to work with. I'm going to be doing stamping, so I better grab out my stamp pad, might help, and my block. I didn't think to do that first. I think I'm just going to go black with the stamping. So I just keep trying to pull my sleeves up. It's quite warm in here this afternoon. I've got some pattern tissue because what I'm doing is I'm going to build up along the themes of this story of somebody's choosing out fabrics to be used for something, or inspired by the colours and patterns in the fabric to perhaps colour a stamp a certain way. So it's not necessarily sewing related. If you think, well, that's something for a sewing journal and I don't make sewing journals, yes, it is ideal for a sewing journal, but I want to do it in a way that can be used in any journal you like, just by creating the wee story around each piece. So for each piece I want a little bit of pattern paper. Even if it's not sewing related, it just adds a great texture. And I want to grab bits that have interesting details on it. And I'm just going to start gluing. No rhyme or reason, I'm aiming for quick here. Oops, that one's down to the plastic. This one, yes, this one. Now I'm going to attempt to glue on the tissue, which is a bit dodgy, but we'll see how we go. Normally I'd glue on my bit of paper, and I might add other bits to this, other bits of book page or something. I don't know. I'm just winging it. So all I've prepared is a few bits of fabric. That's all I've grabbed out ready for this. So I'm just going to continue. I might as well use up this whole bit. Laying this down on the book page to start with, and that's going to be my starting point. So I haven't even asked you how you are today. I've just launched straight into it. So I hope you've all had a fantastic week and that you're ready for the weekend. It's coming right up. have no idea what we're doing for the weekend. I mean, this is pretty much normal, isn't it? I don't think I ever know what we're doing for the weekend. It could be a quiet one. Let's just put that whole piece on. Or it might not. I don't know. That's getting a bit gluey and I don't want the tissue to tear on me. Get stuck to my glue page. Yeah, so we'll see. I guess I'll report back in next week and say what we did or didn't get up to. Of course, I'm filming this on a Thursday afternoon, so we might have a better idea by the time we get to Friday evening. And then again, we probably won't. We'll probably just wake up and it's like, we want to do something, or no, we don't want to do anything. Because, of course, hubby does get very tired with his work. And he was off sick for a portion of this week. One day, but, you know. So I'm quite aware that he might not feel up to doing anything. And I'm still recovering myself from surgery, so a lot more mobile. But also get quite sore as well. So we'll just see what happens. Tends to be the way we float these days. Right. Oh, I thought surely I haven't done them all yet, and no, I've still got 2 to do. This looks like an interesting bit here. So I'm trying to do a little bit of mess making to try and make this go quickly. So if I'm going too quick for you, my apologies. Feel free to ask any questions in the description box, in the comments. You know, if I've gone too quick or there's something you want to clarify, just ask. And I will see how I can help or clarify or something. Now, if you don't have dressmaking pattern tissue, you could use any tissue. You could use serviette. Just whatever you've got. Don't let a particular supply put you off from giving it a go. Just think what you could use instead and what would give you a similar result, but in your style, in your preferences. Because I've got all this wonderful fabric that my friend gave me, my quilter friend. And so it's like, I thought it would be perfect for this project. I might actually just leave those bits hanging over. They're a bit sticky at the moment, but that's okay. Okay, so now I want stamped images. Oops, I've got strings all over me already. So let's go back to the first one, which hopefully will be a bit drier. Yep, feels drier. And pick out a stamp we might want to use. So I've got some sewing themed ones. I've got some teddy bears, some kind of folk art style animals. Got this ballerina with a tutu, different styles of tutu. And then in this one I've got a dress form, which you might not be able to see very well because of the casing, which I thought might work. I've had this set for a very long time. So I think I will need to stamp them on something else. So this is, I believe, a bit of grocery bag. So let's try this one first up. Give it some good ink. I've already got ink all over my thumb. I'm going to be going to the doctor's, walking in with ink from elbow to wrist, or elbow to fingertip, I guess. Oh, it's better than yesterday when I went out to lunch with my friend and I had black ink on my tongue and all over my fingers. You may ask how I ended up with it on my tongue. Well, I was trying to get my fountain pen to work and I kept touching it to my tongue for the moisture to try and activate the ink, and of course it would get little bits of ink that was stored within the nib of the pen, but it wasn't drawing ink and I was getting really frustrated. So I ended up unscrewing it, and I found that the ink cartridge was empty. There was never going to be any ink coming out of that cartridge. But in the meantime, I'd made my tongue, the tip of my tongue, black, which is really funny. So yes, Adventures of a Crafter. Right, so that's lovely stamped. It is taller than this bit of paper, which is why I wanted to do it on a separate bit of paper. And I'm going to, oops, if I can keep hold of it, tear it out. It's almost like doing a mood board. Well, I guess it is kind of a mood board that you can pop in your journal, and you could put these as an embellishment on top of a page or a journal card or a pocket, you know, wherever you like, or even a journal topper. Or you can actually back these and use the whole thing as a journal card or a pocket, depending what size you're working with. So bear in mind what you might want to use it for as to how big you make your bases. If you don't have book pages, you could, or don't want to use book pages, you could use digitals, you could use coffee dyed paper, you could use scrapbook paper, you could use whatever sort of paper you like. I just really like the idea of the book page because it adds that interesting text and, in this case, interesting colour, because I want to give it a vintagey look. You don't have to give it a vintagey look if you don't want that. So I'm going to glue that on here, and I am going to use my tacky glue for this because it, you know, grocery bags are a reasonably heavyweight paper. So I'm going to glue that on and hope that I get glue in the right place and not too much overhang. Oops, I feel like I've got a blockage. The glue's not coming out properly at the moment, but it is coming out, so that'll be fine. Just put the lid on so that it doesn't block. Okay, so there we've got a base, and I think from this point, like, I made that first bit, but I think from here I need to like do individually because that's kind of how my brain works. So from here I'm kind of imagining what fabric are we going to use on this lovely dress form. We're going to make something, or somebody's making something. What vibe do we want to go with? So I've picked out a few fabrics, just small scraps and bits and pieces. I've got no preconceived ideas of what ones I want to use. I just grabbed, you know, a selection. And I'm going to be playing with strings. I'm going to also go to the doctor covered in strings, aren't I? Yep, that sounds like me walking in a complete mess. It's nothing major that I'm going to the doctor for, just, you know, I've got to go every 3 months to get my new round of medication, and I need some more blood tests done. So they're thinking they might be able to do the blood tests today because I let them know I need them. I was due to have them before my operation, but then I got called up for surgery and haven't been able to get there. So, in fact, I think I want an even smaller bit of that. Here we go, a video of half an hour of me sitting here pulling strings off. So I'm thinking maybe we go with that. I'm thinking a couple of different, because it might be a layered dress or it could be a skirt and a top. We don't know. So we're going to put a few options on there, imagining what they might be making, whoever's going to be making it. So I'm looking for something that will work with this fabric. So I probably need to pull my little stack down and see what we might like that would work with it. Maybe this green. I probably need a plain fabric, but I didn't grab any plain ones out. They're in a different bag, which is in a different room right now. Don't know that tartan's gonna go with it. Nope. This could be my sticking point, is that I haven't got enough options that sort of complement each other. And I keep getting distracted by all the little strings everywhere. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's take a little bit of that one. It's just got some more subtle, totally different style. But, you know, maybe it's the short list of selections of fabrics that the person might want to use to make whatever they're going to make on the stress form. Oh, excuse me, I hope you didn't hear that. Just a little bit of a burp from my cup of tea. Yeah, I quite like that. I think that's nice. Now, from here, you can staple it. Stapling would work super well. I am actually going to choose to glue this. One, because I've got kinky fabric and I want it to sit flat. And if I staple it, it's just going to pop up. I'd have to put multiple staples in to hold it down. And I'm not sure that my old book page would cope with that too well. So I'm just going to use some tacky glue and pop it down with glue instead. That piece, and this is the creased bit. It's wanting to pop up. So you're not going to pop up when I glue you down. And I'm going to put it kind of like that. Give it a bit more interest, visual interest. Now, with this, when somebody's making a dress or an outfit, whatever it might be, there's notions, what they call notions. So there's buttons and zips and fastenings and lace and all that sort of stuff. So lace is a good addition if you happen to have some lace. This is one of my birthday haul laces. So let's put a little snippet of that. And do I want to staple that? I'm thinking I might staple it just to add a variety of textures going on, just to build up, but I could just as easily glue it. So I'm happy with doing the odd staple on this paper. I just wouldn't want to like cover it in staples. So we've got a bit of lace there. The other thing is buttons. So I've got this wonderful little box of buttons that Lisa in Australia sent me, and I thought maybe we've got one in here that we might want to pop on. It's a little coconut button. We've got a clear, well, this is a fun one, a little faceted white button. You will need to think about how bulky you would like this. If you're gluing it on a pocket, you might not want that sort of texture because it's going to be very hard to write over. But if this is going to be a journal card and can be taken out of the journal, then it's not going to be such an issue for writing in the journal. But I think I'm going to err on the side of more flat, I guess, just because I'm not sure how I'm going to use this yet. And I'm thinking maybe a couple of different buttons just to give a, or three. We need three, don't we? It's either one or three of options that the person might use for their little sewing project. Snuggles, you're making a lot of noise. She's trying to get into the bag of fabric. She loves bags and boxes. So there. Now I could, in fact I am going to glue them on, but I also think I might sew them on as well. Could be a bit dodgy with the paper again, piercing holes in it. So I'll glue them on and then I'll make a decision later on. But I think sewing them on would add some really cute accent and again increase that texture going on. So we've got a collection of buttons here that might be used in whatever garment is going to be made. And I probably will make this something that is removable, or will go on the front of a journal or something like that, or decorate the inside cover, anything like that. You can always use faux buttons, you know, a stamp of a button or a digital printout, anything like that. I've got some digital buttons in some of my kits. Snuggles, be quiet please. I don't know if you can hear the rustle, it's very noisy. So there is my little piece. I think that's cute. Okay, how are we going for time? We have time to do more. So let's grab another one here, and maybe we'll go a different way. We'll try one of these folk art. Now, which do we like? The rabbit, the bird, or the fox? I use the bird quite often, so maybe we'll go with the fox because he's cute. And I'll just use this scrap of brown paper again. And so in this case, this one's going to be a colour palette to inspire the colouring of our fox. So that's going to be the story behind this one. So our first one, wherever I put it, is more about this, what is going to be made on this dress form. Like, this is the fabrics we might use, the lace we might use, the buttons we might use, or whoever. This one is, we've got this cool folk art style fox, and what colour palette or style are we thinking we might colour him in? So he could be in a nature journal, an animal journal, an arty journal. An arty journal would be cool. Yeah, so just to give you a few different ideas on how you can use these, even if you're not into doing sewing journals, but still incorporating the fabric. And I do like putting stories into my work where possible. I'm going to pop you up there, Mr. Fox, or Miss Fox, or Mrs. Not sure. Doesn't actually speak to me one way or the other. It's just cute. Cute fox. And it could be whatever you like. Actually, I might just leave that popping up so it's got a bit of, you know, not constrained to the boundaries. I quite like that. So it's almost, you could say a cluster. And you could use it wherever you would use a cluster. So I don't think I'll be using buttons on this one. Fabric, let's have a look. I have some bright fabrics here. Of course, we've got this one that we used on the other one, but I have got others. This one in particular is really calling me. And isn't that stunning? Isn't that so bright and happy and beautiful? I just think that's gorgeous. So I'm going to use a strip of that. And it's quite a thick fabric, this one. It's a lot thicker than those other pieces. Get rid of some of those excess strings. I don't mind these ones here. And which way was up now? I think, oh, I don't know. Does it matter? Probably doesn't matter. I think it's that way, just trying to match it against the fabric. So I think a bit of that, and also got this. What does this look like? Let's take a piece and see. I'm not so worried about the patterns clashing for this, because the pattern on the fox is very, you know, that sort of style, colourful, very patterned. Not sure how I want. And maybe we want a third. Why not? Shall we use this little snippet from the first one? I just noticed the heart-shaped leaves. That's cute. That might be too much. No, not sure they're working for me. Got this cute little bit. This is off a children's fabric, and it actually says zebra down the bottom here, or almost. The Z's torn off a little bit. There, I like that better. Okay, let's go with that. Again, I'm just going to glue it. And then when the glue's dry, I won't do it on camera. I'll probably go in and put some stitching over top, like it's actually been sewn on. Just do a few stitches across it, or maybe a big X or something. Just something just to add that cotton texture for fun. And just to complete the look. Try not to get it over the fox. So I've got a few strands dangling down there, which I quite enjoy. I think that's quite fun. Probably a little long though, so let's just trim them up slightly. Do I want to add anything else? So yeah, I think a little bit of stitching would be nice. And my other thought is that you can pull these colours into your fox with coloured pencils or with markers. My markers are not with me right now. I've got these Staedtler fine liners. We can use those for this. So let's pick out some colours, maybe this orange. So we're inspired by the orange, and we can just kind of sketchily colour in, so that we're not colouring properly. We're just kind of like, the story flows that we've taken this as an inspiration to colour this, and not colour it completely, just give the hint of. We've got some brown and some yellow. Maybe we'll add some yellow up there, and maybe in the tail. And we've got lots of greens, so we'll definitely do some green, because we've got leaves here. And you don't even have to do like the whole thing. It's just hinting that you're pulling the colours from here. And we've got some pink, so let's find somewhere to put some pink in. Where would I like pink? Maybe I'm going to do a pink tail. So kind of just a rough sketching that's what we're going to do, because we're inspired by these fabrics pulling across the colours. And that's all I'm going to do with the colour. I think that's just then ties the two together as well visually. So can you imagine that in an art journal, you know, either on an art journal spread or in an art themed journal that you're making? I think that could be interpreted as arty, and then you could add more texture if you like. You could add buttons. There's no reason why you couldn't add buttons if you wanted to add buttons, or staples, sewing, which I will do later on. So 2 different ways of using the same sort of thing. So let's do one more. I think we have got time for one more. Okay, so pop our little fox back in place. And shall we do a teddy bear? We could do no, let's do a teddy bear. Because I think more people are likely to have things like a teddy bear stamp or similar than a sewing theme stamp. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I don't want people to feel like they're limited because they don't have any sewing related stamps. So let's use a teddy bear. This is a Kaisercraft stamp set. It's a really, really fun one. And this time I'm going to use a bit of butcher paper. So I'm just pulling scraps out. So this is a bit of a scrap buster as well, using scraps of fabric and scraps of paper and even scraps of book page. You know, you don't have to take them out of a book. If you've got scraps, you can just grab your scraps and use them, whatever size they are. I love these teddy bears. They stamp beautifully. They look really good. I don't use them enough, really. It's the thing. I can say that about most of my stamps. So I don't get them out and play often enough because they're fun to play with. Okay, now this has already got quite a fun edge. But it's going to cover over most of our text there, so I'm going to have to tear it down. I was like, oh, I'd really like to use it the way it is, but I don't want to lose all of that, the markings on the pattern paper. So we can get some of them. We're not going to lose all of them. This time I will use glue stick because the butcher paper is very light. Oops, use the correct glue stick. And so again, this one will be more of a like, what fabrics are we going to either make our teddy bear with or dress our teddy bear with? And so I've got a bunch of neutrals here, which I thought would be really ideal. Just trying to clear everything. So I've got all these lovely little squares here. Oh, that's pretty. Wouldn't he look dashing in a little vest, little waistcoat of that? That would be pretty. And then this gorgeous fabric with the gold through it. I don't know if you can see the gold, but it's super pretty. It's like pine cones. Well, it is pine cones actually. And all the little things are outlined in gold. I almost don't want to cut it down, but I'm going to. Oh, my phone's ringing. Excuse me, I'll just pop you on pause for a moment. Sorry about that, guys. It was a very quick phone call. Bit of a story. The care I was getting after surgery, I cancelled it via email, and that was 2 weeks ago basically, and they have not seen the email, so they keep contacting me and saying, oh, you're supposed to be having care, or so my carer contacted me directly and I cleared it up with her, so she knew what the story was, but the office, who, you know, everything is organised through, just yeah, a bit slow on the uptake. So they keep trying to get in touch with me and saying, oh, you're due for care. Where are you? And yeah, it's like, well, I cancelled it, guys. So that's the final call. She's now going to action the discharge and I won't get those calls anymore. So I've had a couple of different people from the office call, and it's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand doing. But fortunately, the carer I had, who is now the most beautiful friend, yeah, she knew. So yeah, and that's the main thing, is that it wasn't upsetting her schedule or putting her out or anything, because she knew what was going on. Just the office, which, you know, is remote, we're just a bit late in catching up with everything. Right, so we were doing this fine teddy bear and imagining what clothing we might make for him or her. So this is quite a fun stripe, and I don't know, stripes and teddy bears to me seem to go together. I think they're very a match made in heaven, really. This teddy bears and stripes. Oh, I like that. Yes, I like that, and I love this. I wish I had a big piece of this red, because it's just stunning. And this pinecone one is stunning in a different way, but this, of course, is really speaking to my favourite colour. But that's the only scrap that I know of that I've got of it. So let's glue this down and try and remember how I had it. So yes, I do apologise for that interruption. I did forget to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Whoops, there's a random thread there on the back. We don't need to glue you into this piece of ephemera. Go in our beautiful piece of red, which has actually got interfacing on the back. I thought it felt different, and that's why it's got a backing on it. That's probably why it's not crinkled. Well, it's probably not crinkled because it's a tiny wee fragment. But see, tiny wee fragments find a home. And our fun stripe across there. And again, I might add some stitching to that just to complete the idea. Now, you could go even further. You could put a label on, you could put words. In fact, why don't we put a word on? We've got a few minutes. Literally only a few. It's 2:45 and my appointment's at 3, so I better just do this and then call it a day. We want a, that kind of works. Or do we want a, finish your sentences, girl, a horizontal word. Do we want horizontal or vertical? No, that gets lost. Nope. No. Friend. That's kind of nice, isn't it? Let's go with friend. I always think of teddy bears as friends, aren't they? Childhood friends, comfort, memories, companionship. Cuddly. All those warm and wonderful things associated with a teddy bear. I was more of a doll person when I was little. I did have soft toys, and I have soft toys now as an adult, but I was more of a doll person when I was growing up, and my brothers had teddy bears, and a very, very old one. I don't know if it's still around. It's either with my oldest brother, or I don't think Mum's still got it, but she might do. You know, it was very, very threadbare on its body, and its arms were half hanging off. You know, the typical well-loved toy that my brothers had. And I think it was possibly even Mum's before it was theirs. But I'm not sure. Maybe it was just, you know, two boisterous boys growing up. Put the teddy bear through its paces. Right, so there we go. We did 3. So I'm sorry that this may have felt a little bit rushed. But yes, time constraints, and I didn't want to not do a video for you guys for Friday. And I'm hoping that my mum will come out tomorrow, so I wanted to be free to not worry about needing to do a video if she does manage to get out to see me. So there we go. There's 3 that we managed to get done, and I've got a bunch of more bases here ready to go. I think we had about 6 in total, so I did 3 pages, so we've done half. And I will add some stitching as well, and I'm probably stitching on this one as well. If I don't do the buttons, I'll do the fabric. So I hope that this has inspired you of possibilities, like I've been inspired by Rachel and by Gail, and sort of taking it in my own direction, developing my own story, that you would do that too and take it in your own direction with your own story and how you might want to interpret this idea of fabric and paper clusters, essentially, little samplers. So there we go, friends. Have a fantastic weekend. I will report back to you on Monday with whatever I got up to or didn't. And Deal It Up Challenge on Monday. I hope you're ready for it. Always a good time. Okay, guys, take care. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.